Okay, so I am making another version of the same video, which is how to import your course content into a course where the original content is not in your sandbox, but it's in another course. So basically taking your course content from one course and importing it into another. Again, as a reminder, when you do this, both courses have the blueprint. So in order to do that, you have to exclude the blueprint. When you go from Sandbox and import that into a course, the Sandbox shouldn't have the blueprint, so you don't have to do that exclusion part. But when you're going from, say, in this example, a Term 7 course into a Term 8 course, both of those are live courses. Both of those have blueprints, so you have to exclude it. So I'm using Mr. Desai's class as an example. So he has 2 published courses right now. I know one of them is his adults and one of them is his high school. I'm doing this example with high school. He knows which one is which, but just a little FYI, if you see for here, example PO3 means period 3 and PN means period night. So I know these are his adults because he has them in the evenings, and I know this is his high school. Also, high school classes also generally have a little letter at the end of their course number. When you hover over the color, a little pop-up will show you the whole name of the course, and it says MEA0541C 6793. High school classes usually have a letter in that last digit, where this one has 541C. Post-secondary courses don't usually have that letter. So here is his post-secondary course. See how it ends in 5410. So little tips if you're not sure which one is which. Oftentimes you guys ask me to rename the class and put an HS or a PS in the front of the name, which is fine. Or sometimes you change these colors, or sometimes you put 2 different images, whatever you do to distinguish. So I want to take the content that's in this class, his current class, 6793 high school class, and copy it into his 6893 class. So 6893 hasn't been published yet, obviously, so it's going to be down here and unpublished. It will not have the word sandbox in it. It's an actual class, and it should start with 68 something. So this one, again, I'm hovering over the top line that's in color. It says 66S3, that's not it. 6693, that's not it. This one I can actually see it. 66S4, that's not it. 6694, that's not it. Again, you're looking for 68. Here's a 68S3, which is a special section for his high school. Notice there's a letter here, 541D. This is also 68 section. It's 6893, and it has the 504D. So 541D. Both of these are high school classes. One's a special section, one isn't. Normally what you do is you tell me I have a special section or I have multiple sections, and you tell me in advance which ones you want me to merge into. He hasn't done that yet, so I'm going to select this one for him, and I'll let him know that I'm going to merge this class into this. So this is the one where I want to put the content. So when you're on your dashboard, you go into the class where you want to put the content, and then you're going to import from the origination class. To make things easier, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this one in a new window and put them side by side. So I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to say open in new window. Oh, look at this. There's a new thing, open in split view. Let's try this because that's what I want. Perfect. So this should be the one that I want. Now look, when I look up here, I can't tell. But then when it finishes loading, it just showed it a second ago. Where'd it go? Well, it went away. So I'm going to go click here on settings, which is where I need to be anyway. And let's confirm that this is the correct class. Yep, 541D6893. This is the class that I want to put the content into. I'm importing into this class. Over here, I'm going to open up the origination course just to show you a little trick. But again, I know I'm getting the content from 541C6793. He doesn't have a ton of classes, so it would be easy to find for him, but some of you have many, many, many sections. So I'm going to show you a little trick. I'm going to go ahead in this window here. I'm going to click on this class, and I'm going to click on settings. I'm going to show you a little trick. Just waiting for it to load. Okay. So again, this is the class he's currently running that has the content in it, 541C6793. This is the class where I want to import my content into it. And I'm going to actually space this because I wanted to see this menu over here. Okay, so again, this is the class where I'm putting the content in 6893. I've said it 5 times now because that is important. You want to make sure you're in the right class. This is the class where I'm importing content into. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to pick import course content. Now, if you're importing from your sandbox, you don't even need to be watching this video. You're just going to pick your sandbox and say import everything. But in this case, he's not picking his sandbox. He's picking this class, the 6793 class. So select content type, copy a Canvas course. And here, like I said, he doesn't have a ton. Actually, he has some old classes, a lot of old classes. But for 25-26, which is the school year we're in, right here, he has a couple here and he has a couple here. Actually, he does have a lot of classes. So this could look confusing to him and he might not know which one to pick. What he would be searching for is this 541C6793, but that's a lot to look through and maybe he'll miss it. So here's the quick thing I wanted to show you. This he 1,000,000% knows is where his content is. So each class has a unique identifier down here called the SIS ID. I'm going to copy this. Again, make sure you're in the class. This panel here on the left is the class I know has the content. Once you know you're in the correct class, you can go to settings and copy this. I'm hitting Control C on my keyboard, and I'm going to paste it over here in the class where I want it to go. Oh, I have to put it here, sorry. And boom, and you can double check. It says 541C6793. This is the one he wants. So again, you can click this down arrow and find it. But if it's overwhelming, you have too many courses listed there, go into the course where you know the content is, copy this SIS ID number, and paste it over here, and it'll pull up the correct course for you. And then make sure you click the blue to like make it stick. Now, I don't want to copy or import all of the content because again, I need to pull out the blueprint. So I'm going to say select specific content, add to queue. At this point, I don't even need this panel anymore. I'm done with this. So if I knew how to close it, I would, but I've never used this feature before, so I'm just going to make this bigger. Usually I do open a new window. Okay, so I've selected the class, and now I'm going to select the specific content. And again, you're going to check everything and then uncheck anything that starts with BP26. So I'm going to first just check everything. Whoops. And now I'm going to go back. Whenever you see this little side arrow, always open it up so you can see what's in there. So I'm going to click on it to open it up. Here's a BP26, uncheck. BP26, uncheck. Here's a BP26, uncheck. BP26, uncheck. Now, if you see anything else and you know your own content, if you see anything else that you don't want to bring over, like an old version of your syllabus or an old schedule that pertained to first semester, of course you can uncheck that. But I am just unchecking the BP26s. If you accidentally uncheck something that you need, this class isn't going, or this old class isn't going away from you. You could always go back in here and get it if you needed to. But uncheck anything that says BP26. So now I'm going to go to assignments. Click the little side arrow. Now, sometimes you have more side arrows that show up. If you do, click those as well. So I'm going to click this. Everything in there is BP26, so I could either uncheck them individually or, which is a little faster, especially if there's a lot of items, you could just uncheck this folder and it will undo everything. Now I'm going to go to this folder and check. He's got 32 things in here. I'm just quickly looking for BP26. They're not necessarily in alphabetical order, so make sure you check. Nothing. Then I'm going to go here and look for anything that says BP26. I don't see anything. Now here's quizzes. You could check all 32 quizzes, but I'm telling you now, under quizzes or question banks, you'll never have any BP26 items there. So you could just skip these. And when I say skip, I mean don't check them. Let me rephrase that. You want the check marks, but you don't need to go through them and assess whether or not there's any BP26 items. There will not be any BP26 items in quizzes or question banks. So you can move past those, just leave them checked. Discussion topics, go ahead and check that. So I'm going to click this little side arrow. Oops, that one is a BP26, uncheck. Pages, click the side arrow. There's definitely pages in here. Oh, they're all BP26 for his class, so I'm just going to uncheck this whole folder. If some of them are not BP26, make sure you leave those ones checked. External tools, click the side arrow. I'm going to keep that. Announcements, I'm going to keep that. Now, you might have tons of announcements in your class, and they're specific to things that were related to first semester dates, maybe, so you could uncheck that stuff. Under calendar events, same thing. Like, I don't know what these are, and they probably don't have anything to do with semester 2 of his class, but since it isn't my own class and I don't really know, I'm just going to leave them there for him. He can deal with that on his own. And then here for files, he's got 229 files. I'm going to click the little side arrow. There are always 4 folders in files that relate to BP26. Only 4. All the other folders are your own stuff for your own content. So you just need to find the 4 folders that have BP26 in the name. So here they are. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure you open them up by clicking the side arrow and check what's inside. So here's the first folder. I'm going to click here. It's only one thing and it's a BP26, so I'm going to uncheck. Here's the second folder. I'm going to click the side arrow. There's 29 items in here. I'm going to check. They all start with BP26. So I'm just going to go to the top of that folder. This is the folder that has all 29 items. I'm going to uncheck the whole folder. And then I'm going to just zip that back up. Here's the third folder. There's 3 items in here. It says BP26. I want to see what's in there. They are all BP26. So I'm going to uncheck this folder. In your class, they might not be, so make sure you check. And then here's the fourth folder, uploaded media. I'm going to click the side arrow. These are both BP26s. Again, in your class, they might not be, so make sure you click this little arrow and check what's in there. Okay, so these were my 4 folders that had BP26, and I ended up unchecking the whole folder for all of them. Again, in your class, you might have some things checked and some things unchecked within the interior of the folder, so check in the folder. I don't need to click on all these side arrows and check in all of these folders because, again, you're only going to have these 4 folders that have BP26. So I'm just going to move past all the rest of this stuff, and I'm going to click Select Content. So at this point, the import is happening. It's taking the content from MEA 0541C 6793, and it's importing it into this current class, which is a 6893 class. So I'm going to let this process. Some classes can take 5 or 10 minutes to process. Some take 3 minutes. Just depends. If this is long, I'll fast forward the video. Okay, so this is now completed, and there's a status here that says completed. Sometimes it'll say something like completed with errors or partially completed. If it says that, don't assume you did anything wrong. It'll have another button over here that says something to the effect of like check to see what the errors are. Click that button. Most likely the errors will say something about a wiki, W-I-K-I, a wiki body or something. If that's the case, it's fine. Don't worry about it. They don't impact your class. It's some leftover ghosty thing from Desire to Learn. Don't worry about it. So again, if this says partially completed or completed with errors, you can click the dot that will appear here and see what those errors are. They probably aren't anything to worry about. And if you aren't sure, you can always ask me. Okay, so now it's completed. So I'm going to click on the home button here. Now, sometimes the home button will do what it did now, which is to open to the standard home page, which is what it should open to. And I'm going to remind you how to edit this. But sometimes when it opens, it doesn't open to this page. It opens to your modules page. Again, if you click home and it goes to modules instead of this, you have to select the home page. To select the home page, you go over here and click choose home page, and it will have been on this one, and you want to change it to the one that says BP26 standard home page. So change it to this if it opens to modules. This one was already there, so it's fine. And I just want to edit this right here very minimally. I don't want you guys making big changes to this. This is supposed to be standard and consistent throughout the whole campus. So really, you're just going to edit right here, this orange and this little bit of information underneath. So I'm going to click here where it says edit. I'm just waiting for it to load. Now see how this visible editable area is small? A little tip is scroll down a little here to get to what you want, but you can also click these 8 little dots and see how I get this up and down arrow. Click and drag that a little, and your visible area in here gets bigger. So I want to type the name of this. So I'm going to put here High School Semester 2 Electrocardiograph Technology. I'm going to backspace over this. And now we're not in fall 2025 anymore. January starts winter or spring. I'll put both because I think he uses this the whole rest of the year. Winter, spring 2026. What is his room number? I'm backspacing over this. And I'm going to put room 227. I think that's his room number. And then here where it says type instructor email, I'm going to backspace over this and put Mr. Juan Desai. Our technical college. I forget what else I was supposed to put here. Oh, phone number. I'm just going to put the main number for the school, 754-321. If you have a phone in your room, you can put that. Let me get rid of these extra little characters there. So that's it. Please don't change the picture. Don't change up here where it says standard homepage. Just this. If you wanted to add anything else to customize it, you have to do it below this blue button. If you want to add stuff down here, you can. But below the blue button. Otherwise, just right here is all I want you to do. I'm actually going to spell out the semester here. High School Semester 2 Electrocardiograph Technology. Okay, now I'm going to scroll down. Make sure you click Save. And then again, if I go back to Home, it has that here. If I click on Announcements, here's his announcement. If he wants to edit it for some reason, you just click here. Nope, sorry, you click here. And if you wanted to edit it, then you go click the 3 dots and go to Edit. Syllabus. You should upload your syllabus. Here's his syllabus now. This is his 24-25 syllabus. Maybe he updated it and didn't change the name. I don't know. Let's see what loads. Still processing. So he has a test scheduled for this date, so he might want to change that. Oh, look and see it things from the other class that were due December 8th, they're all here. So he's going to go in and change those dates. So you don't change the dates here because that's automatically populating. Where he would change the dates is he would go into assignments and quizzes and change them. I'm going to first go to modules. So here's the BP. Remember, we unchecked it because all the classes already had them. So here, this was where it already was. Canvas support. I always move the other student support and the teacher support to the bottom. So if you want to do that, you can click the 3 dots at the top of the module title and say move module at the bottom. I always like to move that one to the very bottom. And then I go to the teacher support one and I move module at the bottom. Okay, so let's go back up to the top here. I'm going to hit collapse all so I can just see the title. So here's BP26 welcome, Canvas student support. Here's a syllabus for 25-26. He doesn't have it published yet because there's nothing in there. He needs to upload that from his computer. Course content, here's all of his stuff. Oh, look, he has the syllabus right here. So he could move that up there or leave it the way he has it because this isn't published and nobody's going to see this anyway. Here's his 25-26 syllabus. I'm going to go ahead and move it to this area for him in a second. So he has these other 2 modules, but they're not published right now. Other student support and teacher support, these are BPs. So let me first, before I go to assignments, I'm going to go back to syllabus here. And I'm going to click edit. And right here where he has 24-25 syllabus, I'm just going to get rid of that, backspacing over it. And I'm going to find that file that was 25-26 syllabus. So to find that file, I'm going to go over here to documents. And I don't need to upload it. It's already in the class. So I'm going to go to course documents. I'm going to do a little search here for syllabus, SYLL. Here's his 25-26 syllabus. I'm just going to click on it. So now it put it in here. I can close the little add box. And then what I always do is click on this link one time, left click one time, go to link options, change it to preview inline and default expansion. So change it to preview inline and expand by default, click done. Once you do that, once I click update syllabus, it should expand by default. Now, these things, again, are being generated from assignments and quizzes. If you don't like that stuff being generated, you would uncheck this box. But he likes it there, so I'm going to leave it there and click update. So now when I'm on syllabus here, here's his updated syllabus. And again, below that is where all the due dates show. And those due dates are coming from here. So let's go to assignments. Here are the BP assignments, and then these are all of his assignments. So the ones that are published, see how they're published with the green? This one is closed, meaning it has a date that's old. So they wouldn't be able to get into it. They, meaning students, wouldn't be able to get into it. Same thing here. This one's published, but it's closed. When the teacher, goes in and clicks on this, and then updates it. I'm going to click edit. When he updates it to not be due on November 12th, because maybe now it's going to be due February 8th or whatever, then that new date, once he clicks save, will populate to the syllabus. So whenever you have due dates for things, those due dates, whether it's an assignment or a quiz, will populate to the syllabus if you have that little thing checked. So I'm going to go back to assignments here. Make sure you check on things that are published to see if they're available. So this one's published and doesn't say closed, which means it would be available for a student to do as soon as the first day of class arrives. So if he wants to make sure they can't see that, then he either has to unpublish it or put a due date and availability date both. So let me also remind you, when you have a assignment, whether it's a quiz or just a regular assignment, all of his assignments look like they're quizzes. So see here where it says closed. If I click on this and then go to edit, this is just a little reminder. This says it is due on November. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. This says it is available until November 13th, which means it will be closed. Students cannot access it after November 13th. Some people just put a due date, like they put this to be November 13th at 12:38 p.m. and they leave this one down here empty. So I'm showing a different scenario. If you have a due date, but you don't have an until date, students can still submit. They can access the assignment and still submit, and it'll be marked as late. So if you want it to actually be closed where they can no longer access the assignment, you must have an until date. If you use gradebook passback, you have to have a due date. I always make the due date and the until date the same. Some people are different. Maybe they don't mind if somebody turns something in a few days late. So that would be a personal choice. But due dates are required if you use gradebook passback. Until end dates here are required to close an assignment so that students can no longer access it. I'm going to clear this because he didn't have that in there. I'm just going to hit cancel and leave it exactly the way he had it. Okay. So assignments, you can edit them to edit those due dates or edit those availability to and until dates, and the same thing with quizzes. Remember that quizzes will also show on the assignments tab. So you don't have to go in both tabs. All quizzes will always show on the assignments tab. Okay, so with all that said, he's done. He did his import. All he'll have to do is publish this when he's ready. He might want to make some changes this week as he's preparing for January 6th start date or on the January 5th planning day. So I'm not going to publish this for him. But when he's ready, he'll just go here and switch this to say publish. Okay. Hope that helps.